Today on Sports Central, we go over a college football game preview and prediction on a big matchup coming up here in Week 3 of this 2021 college football season. And it's going to be between the Cincinnati Bearcats and the Indiana Hoosiers, two very talented teams in the nation right now. We got Cincinnati, of course, who is probably the best team outside of the Power 5 heading into Week 3. So this is a very talented Cincinnati team. And meanwhile, you got Indiana on the flip side. This team lost to Iowa in Week 1 by a significant margin, and Indiana is trying to get back some momentum, in which this would be a perfect matchup for them. If they could win this matchup, they should be right back into the rankings, and overall, Indiana is still a very talented team, and I think Indiana's got plenty of potential. I mean, Michael Penix, of course, he's an outstanding quarterback. We've seen him play very well in the past. Hasn't been the best start to the season for him, but overall, Indiana is definitely a team to watch out for in the future, especially if they can get a win in this matchup. So that being said, we'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on Cincinnati and Indiana here today, starting out with their team trends. Last game for Cincinnati, they beat Murray State 42-7, and they're 2-0. Cincinnati, they kind of had a slow start against Murray State there. I mean, Murray State hung on for a couple of quarters there, then Cincinnati really pulled away and got a huge win by 35 points. They're the 8th ranked team in the nation as well, so Cincinnati is lingering in there in the top 10. I mean, for a group of 5 team to make the college football playoff is extremely unlikely, but if Cincinnati can win this matchup by a big margin, I mean, they're starting to have an argument. I mean, you're building the resume huge with a good win against Indiana, which Indiana, this is a very good Indiana football team. I mean, this is probably the best team we've seen out of the Hoosiers in quite a while in this 2021 season. So, I mean, if Indiana can keep getting wins, I mean, this is a very talented and potentially dangerous Indiana team. So, but for the Hoosiers, they beat Idaho last week, 56-14, solid win after their tough loss at Iowa. Once again, that was a brutal loss for the Hoosiers in Week 1, and they're 1-1 heading into this matchup. Game will be on Saturday, September 18th in Bloomington, Indiana. Hoosiers will be the home team in this matchup, and it'll be at noon Eastern time. Line currently has Cincinnati by 3.5. Over-under is 50, and the FPI is also going with the Bearcats here. 55% is the probability according to the FPI. So overall, Cincinnati is favored in this matchup, but very slightly. I mean, both teams are pretty even when it comes to the spread right now, which is not very surprising. I mean, Indiana, of course, is a very talented football team. I mean, Michael Penix has had a rough start to the season, but I mean, we saw Michael Penix was in 2019 and in parts of 2020. I mean, he's a very talented quarterback, and he's got a ton of potential. We've seen him before. Series history, Indiana leads at 9-3. Win streak is currently Indiana by 5. So Indiana's had plenty of success in this series, and the last game was in 2000. So it's been over 2 decades since we've seen these teams play each other, which makes it even more interesting if I'm being totally honest with you. But looking at the stat comparison for this matchup, these are your 2021 current stats. So these are your average stats after 2 games. Cincinnati's got 45 points per game, 10 points allowed. They had 278 pass yards on average, 188 rush yards, and then for yards allowed, 129 passing, 131 rushing. So defensively, Cincinnati has looked really good so far, only allowing 129 passing yards per game so far. Very impressive. As for Indiana, 31 points per game, 24 points allowed, 157 pass yards, 128 rush yards, and then for yards allowed, 170 passing, and then 111 rushing. Some key points for this one, of course, Cincinnati being 2-0. I mean, it's been a great start for Desmond Ridder, and he was a big-name quarterback heading into this college football season, and I mean, rightfully so. I mean, he's a very talented quarterback. He's put up some great seasons, or especially last year was a great year. And I mean, yeah, Desmond Ridder, I mean, he's played very well so far, so he's definitely a name to watch out for in the future. I mean, once again, Cincinnati, this is a very talented football team, and I mean, they're just kind of hanging in the background of the college football playoff picture right now. But I mean, if Cincinnati can string some good wins, some quality wins together, I mean, there's an argument to say that Cincinnati could potentially be in the college football playoff this postseason. Which, I mean, if you look at how many upsets we've already seen, like we've seen Ohio State go down already, Clemson has taken a loss. So I mean, you never know. So Cincinnati, they just got to keep winning. But for Indiana, I mean, once again, that loss at Iowa in Week 1 was a brutal start for sure, and that really shot this team's momentum down, I do think. And I mean, it's going to take a couple of wins to get back into the picture of the Big Ten East. But Indiana, this is a very capable team of being a contender in the Big Ten East for sure. I mean, Michael Penix, once again, we've seen how well he's played in the past. He's a very talented quarterback, and I think he's definitely a name to watch out for if you're in the Big Ten. But yeah, they could definitely switch around the momentum with a win here. If this Indiana team does win at the home against Cincinnati, I mean, this would be a huge. This could really turn around the momentum for Indiana moving forward. So that being said, it's going to be a huge game for both these teams here. I mean, for Cincinnati, I mean, you've got a pretty significant postseason position on the line potentially. I mean, every win really matters when you're in or outside the Power Five. So for Indiana here on the flip side, I mean, it's huge for them to gain back some momentum. So that being said, let's get to the prediction for this matchup, Cincinnati and Indiana. I've got more of a lower scoring matchup here, but I'm going to go with the Bearcats here, 28-24. This was a tough one to predict. I mean, I could easily see it going either way. I mean, if Indiana won this matchup, good for them. I really would not be surprised if they did end up getting the win in this matchup. But yeah, I'm going to go with Cincinnati. 28-24 is my current score prediction. I'm going to say 60% towards the Bearcats as well. So I do think Cincinnati is more likely to win. I mean, just because Indiana, I mean, how they played against Iowa a couple of weeks ago is concerning to me. And I mean, they played well against Idaho last week, but Idaho is an FCS team. They're not a quality FBS team like Cincinnati is. So, I mean, Indiana, this is a good Indiana football team, and I think they're definitely capable of winning. But Cincinnati right now is just, I feel like they're the better team. They've got more to play for right now, and so I think Cincinnati is going to get the win here, 28-24. Over-under is 50. I'm currently taking the over just slightly, as I've got 52 total points in this matchup. But once again, I'm going with the Bearcats here, 28-24. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, though, on this matchup. Pretty interesting matchup coming up here in week 3 between Cincinnati and Indiana. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this game, and I appreciate you guys all watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you guys later.